So at the RNC, they do a bunch of these like pre-produced puff pieces for the president and for, Mike Pence. And here's one that really stuck out like a sore thumb. This is something else. They did Democratic Socialists for Trump. Now, I don't have the entire video, unfortunately, but I do have a little snippet. Take a look.
Going straight to the source is really how I was able to overcome some of those pitfalls. And so I want people to hear my story and know that you can actually go from being a Democratic Socialist to a Trump supporter, but you have to look deeper.
I think there's a political realignment that's taking place. I've always been very anti-war, and now Trump is by a mile the anti-war candidate. I've always been very much for free speech. Trump is now by a mile the more pro-free speech candidate.
That's rich. I'm gonna get back to those points in a second, but okay, guys, you cannot run a campaign where the main focus is, oh my God, far left, far left, far left. Oh my God, Antifa, BLM, Marxism. Oh my God, Joe Biden is a puppet of the radical left. He doesn't believe in law and order. Radical left is so bad, so bad. You can't say that half the time and then turn around and do a Democratic Socialist for Trump piece. Because that makes no sense. It's like me bashing fascism and then doing like a Fascists for Kyle Kulinski piece. That makes no sense! It makes no sense! And this is one of the main problems with the RNC, is that Trump, he's putting the emphasis on the wrong arguments, but then there are other times as well he just contradicts himself and he's trying to be everything to everybody. And it doesn't work. Like, in Trump's speech, he was all over the place, man. He was all over the place. He was like, he did the whole typical Biden far left, Biden radical thing. But then also in the middle, he flipped and went back to some 2016 Trump attack lines of like Biden's for TPP and outsourcing jobs and the Iraq war. And like, you have to pick one of those attacks. You can't pick both of those attacks. It doesn't make sense. And he can't help himself. I'm telling you, he's surrounded by a bunch of people who have dulled his political instincts to the point where they're basically non-existent. So you can't bash the far left and then turn around and like say, we welcome the far left with open arms. That makes no sense. Now, to their specific points, the first one says something like, oh, you got to look deeper. Look deeper at what? I'm looking as deep as I could possibly look. And you know what I see? A fraud, a con man, an establishment hack who pretended to be an outsider. That's what I see. This is a guy, Donald Trump, who put Wall Street in his cabinet. He cut taxes for the rich. He did the Bush tax cuts on steroids. That's what I see. I see a continuation of the status quo wrapped in the aesthetic of an outsider businessman. That's what I see. And you don't, because you're a sucker. The other person brings up, I've always been really anti-war. Trump is by far the anti-war candidate. No, he's not. No, he's not. Why is it everybody's totally comfortable with pointing out Obama's hypocrisy when it comes to foreign policy, where he talked a good game about getting out of wars and then he kept us in wars? Why is it everybody recognizes that? He's a hypocrite, he's a fraud, he's a liar. Everybody recognizes that. When it comes to Trump, why does he get credit when he mouths anti-war stuff, but he continues all the wars? Why does he get credit? He literally said in an interview with Axios very recently, oh, how many troops are going to be left in Afghanistan on election day? 5,000. When he got in office, there were 8,000 there. So you take 3,000 out, you still have 5,000 troops, and I'm supposed to give you credit for being anti-war? I'll give you credit for being anti-war when there are 0 there, son. Get out of Iraq, get out of Afghanistan, get out of Syria, which is the new place he has us in, to steal their oil, as he said. 500 American troops there for no reason other than to jack natural resources in contravention of international law. Get us out of there, and then maybe we'll have a conversation. And oh yeah, stop escalating with Iran, assassinating Iranian generals willy-nilly, again, in contravention of international law. Stop escalating with Venezuela and trying to do secret coups over there. I'm supposed to give you credit for being anti-war when you're escalating all these wars? The only tiny little bright spot is North Korea, where you didn't actively go in the wrong direction. Everywhere else he went in the wrong direction, and you got clowns like this saying, oh, he's the anti-war candidate. Why? Why, numbnuts? Because all you do is listen to what politicians say and you don't actually look at what they do? Is that why? What a joke, man. How the hell do people fall for this stuff? How do they fall for this stuff? And then even the pro-free speech thing. Here, I'm going to blow your mind. You ready? Donald Trump is the most anti-free speech president we've had in decades. In quite a long time. Why do I say that? Because he's now said it multiple times that he would like to punish flag burning with a year in jail. That is against freedom of speech. Quite literally, there was a 1989 Supreme Court case where they ruled that burning the flag is protected First Amendment speech. That is free speech. That is the definition of free speech. It is an act of protest. Nobody's getting hurt. You're just burning the flag. He says that should be punished with a year in prison, a year in jail. That is absolutely anti-free speech. As far as I know, Donald Trump is the only president of the United States of America who has sued somebody over a joke. That is the ultimate snowflake move. He sued Bill Maher over a joke. Need I go on? He talks about how we need to open up the libel laws and have laws that are more like the UK, which they're not nearly as pro-free speech as we are here. I mean, the list goes on and on. He said he wanted to, take away the credentialing for news outlets he doesn't like because they say mean things about him. President of the United States threatening to take away the credentials of news agencies because he doesn't like what they say. That's the exact opposite of freedom of speech. Exact opposite. The only thing, you know what he does? He just goes out there every now and then in these speeches and says like, we believe in free speech on college campuses, don't we, folks? And that's all he has to say for every idiot in the country to be like, oh my God, he loves free speech. Again, what he says is what they focus on. What he does, they never focus on. Ever. Ever. Pathetic. Pathetic democratic socialist for Donald Trump. Oh, please. Listen, if you're one of the people who says, Joe Biden's record is so bad, I'm sitting out this election. I got no bone to pick with you at all. Your decision, man. Your decision. You can think it through on your own. You have your own criteria, your own standards. It's part of being an American. You can pick whatever you want on that front. So you want to sit out? Got no problem with you. You want to vote green? Got no problem with you. You want to vote Biden? Got no problem with you. If you vote Trump, there's no good argument for that. There's just none. I'm sorry. There's no good argument for that. Especially not with disingenuous nonsense arguments like we just saw there.